There's a...
Let us know if you can hear us.
Nope.
Now I'm coming in too.
Are you hear me?
Are they muted?
Tell me, can you hear me?
Hi, Ricky. How you doing?
Nutcracker.
This is back now. Okay, now it looks like...
Now we're back.
Audio?
Can you hear us? If you can hear us, give me a thumbs up, comment, do something. Say, I can hear you.
Good now.
Good now? Good. All right.
Matt says
Hit
we're
it.
good too. I'm going to roll the intro.
Roll it.
The history of the Gallic lands is one of struggle, punctuated by moments of sheer brilliance.
Tartan is Scotland's gift to the world, and it is your personal heritage story. Howdy, boys and girls. Welcome to Kilts and Culture. I'm Rocky. That's Eric.
Yo!
Indeed. Today,
Might be the worst one I ever did.
potentially. Do you want to give it another shot? I don't want to...
Yo, Adrian! Okay.
Indeed. All right.
As I blow out the mic. Sorry, guys.
It's fine.
Over to you.
Special treat.
Very special treat.
Yes. Today, we are trying, from our good friend David Barr, the Lafroig Quarter Cask. Yeah, it's going to be a good one. Mac, why don't you come collect your quarter of the cask? That'd be a lot of whiskey.
Maybe a third.
Your third cask.
Why,
And,
thank you.
And what tart do you have on today there, Mr. Mac?
I have the red hackle tartan on today.
Red Hackle. Lovely,
yes, one of your
lovely.
favorites.
Applause,
Yep,
applause.
yep. Hackly,
Cheers.
hackly. And away he goes.
Indeed. Eric, what lovely tartan do you have
I
on
ain't
today?
wearing no tartan. This is the non-Euclidean tartan known as a calzite, custom brocade fabric done in Celtic knotwork.
Yeah. I remember when we
Which
did
is
that, we bought, begged and pleaded them for a piece of that years and years and years ago.
Yep.
It was a fun one.
Yeah. You don't wear yours anymore.
Now, I think it's still in my closet. I don't know what, it's in. I think it's in the back of the closet. I got to look that one. Got to look
Yeah, you
look
should.
for it. Got to
Yeah, you
hunt
should.
for it. And I have on the lovely Nordic Heritage starting today.
Oft sought after.
Oft sought after, exactly. And what else do we have on?
Well, I don't know about you, but I got my new
bling?
new
Little bling?
sporn bling here.
Indeed. So
Yep.
Eric has on a sticker. They've been bugging the hell out of me.
I thought I was going to fool somebody thinking it's actually a new sporn design.
Oh,
but
good God, no. I wouldn't do that to people. The design. They've been bugging me for years and years and years that we need stickers. So I finally broke down and got 5,000 freaking stickers.
Finally.
Yes. Vinily.
You have any idea how many naked coffee cups there are out there just waiting for these stickers?
Begging, pleading.
And think of all the Stanley cups that now can actually look fully clothed.
Fair.
Yeah,
Fair.
thanks to this.
Fair. And we also got some little bling, little hat pin / lapel badge. So I'm excited about that. Yeah, get in there, Adam. Look at that. Ooh, so fancy.
Yep.
So I'm excited for that.
And cufflinks.
And cufflinks. Yep. We got cufflinks.
Same
too.
lion, different body
Yeah.
location.
Yeah, we're just playing around with stuff, trying to offer fun, different little things with our
Swag,
little
as
Celtic
they say.
lack.
Swag.
Yes, drip.
This is actually my superhero identity because I just move it up here and it's like, I am Kilt Man.
Lion boy.
Lion boy.
Lion-O.
Lion house.
Oh, we're not allowed to talk about 80s cartoons.
Oh,
Better
right.
do
We're not
that.
allowed to talk about these cartoons.
So, all right. So, Lafroig. Quarter cask.
Lafroig.
Yes. Holy Band-Aids, Batman. That's 60s cartoons. No, not cartoons, but that's fine. Yeah. Or Mac, what do we got for the tasting notes? Or
So
smelling
for
notes?
the nose, what you're smelling is a smoldering peat with aromas of coconut and banana.
Coconut and banana?
I almost get the banana. I actually almost get the banana. Dang it.
I don't know about coconut and banana.
I can almost get the banana.
Okay.
How weird is that?
Hey, if you get it, I believe that you got it.
Well, we know we have different palates, and I
Yes.
don't have banana, but
So, and I think Matt did a bit of research on this. He said that the quarter cask is means that it's a cask a quarter the size of a normal one, so there's more liquid in touch with the wood, which imparts more of the wood flavor into the whiskey.
Yeah, amplifying natural flavors of the whiskey and ex-bourbon barrels.
Yeah. It's got a lot of iodine, Band-Aid,
And also a lot of iodine,
earthy kind of smell to it.
also known as seaweed.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyway,
What are you getting, Mac?
I'm still not getting any of the coconut or banana out of this.
Yeah. I get zero fruit for me on this. Absolutely not. I got like the tannins from the wood that kind of,
Like,
yeah.
you know what it is? The banana is like, it's the same scent as the iodine, just weaker.
see, I'm not allowed to have bananas
can't-
anymore.
right.
Yeah, Mac
Why are
can't
we
have
even
bananas.
asking him?
I don't know. Have you ever? Yeah, you've had a banana.
Yeah, I used to eat them and
Almost
until
died.
they hated me.
Yeah. Here. All right. A little sippy sip.
Hey, Slancha, happy Tartan Week.
So in the palate, are you getting deep, complex, and smoky, and a surprising gentle sweetness?
It is sweeter than other Lafroigs I've had.
I'm getting. What did that
me.
do to your voice? I'm getting.
I got phlegm.
Here's a weird one for you. I'm getting earthy, dirt kind of taste. Mm-hmm. I'm getting the Band-Aid.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also getting a bit of skunk. Tell me I'm wrong. Go back in.
Yeah.
Get a little sip. Tell me if you taste skunk. A little bit of like what a skunk smells like.
Yeah, kind
I'm
of
getting
like
a taste in
musk.
that. Yeah.
I could see that.
It just hit me. I've never described it that way before. I've never thought about it in that way. It just hit me.
Does that be like a sulfurous note then?
Well, they're saying the finish is really long, drying with appropriate smoke and spire.
Spire?
Spire.
Spire.
I can taste the spire. For the record, me saying the skunk thing isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just like a hint of a thing. Yeah, it smells like skunk, but not in the bad way.
So you almost made me snarf my
No,
whiskey.
I know. You're welcome. Oh, that up your nose. Ooh, that would burn in many ways. Yeah, it's got a weird like dry consistency on the tongue. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like a not sandpapery on my tongue, but it's like a dry water as opposed to like a viscous kind of thing.
I agree. It feels very centered. I'm getting a lot of flavor like in the middle of my mouth.
Yeah.
On the edges. I like the sweetness, and I'm getting a lot of pepper. There's a really nice balance. It's the peat's there, but I'm getting more pepper personally than the peatiness, and I do like the note of sweetness because it kind of balances that out.
I don't know if I've ever watered. I haven't had Lafroig for quite a while, so I'm gonna just a touch of water, see what happens to it.
I actually really like this one. Yeah, which is unusual for me. I don't usually go for peaty, but
It's got, yeah. I'm definitely burning a little bit more
I'm
chest-wise.
getting- I'm
the
definitely
acid
getting
kind
some
of thing.
heartburn, yeah.
I get that from the quarter cask. Like when it's a really really woody kind of whiskey, I get a little bit of
too
heartburn
much.
from it. Yeah, I smell the peat a lot. I don't get a lot of smoke. It has smoke, but I get more of the peat and the wood kind of flavor to it. You agree, Mac?
Yeah, and it's definitely
Oaky.
woody
yeah,
for sure.
oaky and peppery. That's what I'm getting. But
I don't get a ton of pepper, but I understand what you're saying. I do get more of the peat.
oh, the water really mellowed it out, but not in a bad way.
Gave me more. Yeah, it mellowed out the wood, but it gave me more peat, even more if that's if that's possible. All right.
What some of the comments are saying is maybe they're referring to it as weed more than skunk.
Yeah,
Like kind of, I have no input on this. I
The
cannot.
weed, like kind of the weed smell.
I couldn't give you.
No, weed to me, weed is like a sweeter smell. You know what I mean?
I just find it
I
disgusting.
hang out with the wrong amount of people.
Yeah.
I've never partaken, but I've hung out with those people, and I usually leave the room because this just
It's too much. Yeah.
yeah.
Understood. Okay. All right, Mac. What are you gonna give it? Score 1 to 10.
Going 5-1.
5-1. Okay.
Really.
Kind of in the middle. I'm not sure if I like it. And I'm not sure if I don't like it. I'm just kind of. Yeah, I'm kind of in the middle of the road on this one.
Okay. Understood. Eric.
Maybe it's because I haven't had a really peaty one in a while, or so maybe it's just the novelty. But I want to score this high. Like I'm gonna go like a 7.2.
Okay.
If I were gonna get something that was peaty, if I were gonna get a Lafroig, I would look for this one specifically. You know what I mean?
Well,
It's just-
almost all Lafroigs are going to be peaty. This one's just
I know, but this
woodier.
is I like this though.
Okay.
Yeah.
No shade thrown there. I'm comparing it to like Lafroig 18. They do an 18, they do a 10. I like the 18 a lot. I like the 10 medium. The woody is screwing me up because of the indigestion-y kind of thing. I'm gonna go 6.2 because it's for the
Wow.
indigestion bit. But
That's
like
the weirdest set of scores we've had in a while.
yeah, no, it's reasonably far. Well, it's a point and a half, 2 points apart. Yeah, I prefer the regular Lafroig.
I think I like this better.
Understood. So yeah, that's our score on it. Excellent, cool.
Thank you, Mr. Ball.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. David Barr. I better not spill that. Get that over there. All right. Boys and girls, load in your comments. As always, we are here with your humble servants to answer whatever questions you have, kilts or culture related. While we are waiting for people to load in the comments,
I'm gonna throw a random one that just occurred to me.
throw a random
If
one.
you had to,
Discord.
since tomorrow's Tartan Day,
Yes.
what would you dust off, take out of the cabinet? Oh, this is only for special occasions. What would you drink, whiskey-wise, for Tartan Day?
Open 18.
Tomorrow.
That's
Open
my
18?
Open 18. That
Period.
is
That's
now
it?
my go-to. I'm almost finished the bottle in my basement. I have a little bit in the bottle in my office. We have a lot of whiskey around here, as you can kind of tell. We don't drink that often, I promise. But Open 18, it's too expensive, but I love it. It's damn good. Oh God, man, that's good. Mac, what's your go-to for whiskey for Tartan Day?
My go-to right now is Shankies.
Shankies.
Shankies. That's the whiskey I've been.
Okay.
I'm going through more than I should.
Shankies.
Fair. Kids are screaming.
Okay.
Have a sip of Shankies. Eric, yours.
Shankies. I'd probably go with the Dalmore.
Dalmore. That's another good one. I do love my Dalmore. There's a bottle up back right there.
There is.
This Dalmore cigar malt. That's good stuff.
That was good.
Yeah.
That was good.
Oof, that's very good. Damn.
That's what I'm saying.
Now I want to go grab stuff off the back.
Yeah, you
All right.
do.
Next.
On to business.
Yes.
Ginger with a top hat. Please talk free. The door is locked, just you and me. When getting into kilts on a limited budget, is it better to purchase fewer high-quality kilts to have the nicer wear, or to buy more lower-quality kilts to have the variety? What's the better tactic if you're on a budge?
So, do you want quantity or do you want quality? That is the choice. Those are
there's the rub.
Questions. Yeah. I would say this. Eric has a sticker on his mug now. I would say this. The thing that matters most. I swear this is just
Start over.
Yes.
If you're on a budget,
If you're on a budget, the thing that matters most is start. Period. So figure out what you can afford to spend on it. Figure out, have a swear jar, have a coffee jar, take your daily coffee money for Starbucks and put it in the jar, put it in the jar until you have, $100 or whatever it is to buy your first entry-level kilt and get something. Now, I'm also of the opinion that it's better to buy something nicer than you think you want than lower, because you don't generally regret a higher quality purchase. You might regret a lower quality purchase. But wherever you start, just start. Just jump in. The water's fine. You got to start somewhere. As you start collecting, I would say your tastes will change over time. So the first kilt 2, 3 you get, you're going to look back on in 2, 3, 4 years, if you start wearing them more often. You're going to look back on them and be like, I don't like that one as much as I first did. That one's too simple. That one's too plain. Or, I just bought that one on a whim at a festival, and I don't really like it anymore. your tastes are going to evolve and they're going to get nicer, generally speaking, over time. So the longer you save up, the more you spend on your first kilt, within reason, obviously, the happier you're going to be with it for a longer period of time. I would rather have a few higher quality kilts or a reasonable number of high quality kilts and maybe a couple less expensive kilts to mow the grass in, to wear to the pub, to wear at Highland Games, whatever, just to beat up and not worry about as much. But I would say no matter where you fall on the scale of whether you want to get a bunch of lower end or a few higher end, I would say have one of each minimum and then fill out the middle kind of as you go. Maybe start with a cheap kilt, $100 or less, just to see if you like it, test it out a little bit, and then save up for your next kilt for a wool kilt, whether it's a 5-yard wool or an 8-yard wool kilt. Get a nice one so you have something to wear for nice dressier kind of occasions, and then see which one you like better. If you really love that one that much more than the nice wool kilt, great. Then save up a little longer and get another wool kilt. If you're like, no, I'd rather have a little bit more options, variety, that kind of thing, then get a couple lower end kilts and then get a nice higher end kilt. As you kind of go, you just figure it out. Eric.
Me?
Yes.
I don't really disagree, but I'll offer an alternate strategy for variety's sake. I don't know if I'd want to go too high or too low for a couple of reasons. Number one, if you aim for the best of the best of the best, then if there's a problem with it, or if your weight fluctuates, or if you can't afford to get anything else because you spent all your money on the kilt for a long time, you're going to have some regrets because of that. If you go too low, you're going to be getting a cheap ass kilt that basically doesn't fit you right. It may wear out, or it may not hang right, which is going to make you feel like you don't look good in it, and may give you a false negative. So I would try and go for something more in the middle, especially if you're nervous about your measurements. You don't want to spend $500-600 on a Premier wool kilt and have messed up your measurements because you've never taken your measurements before, or something like that, or because your weight is fluctuating or something like that. So I would try to go something a little nicer than the absolute bleh. I would still avoid doing an acrylic blend or a festival kilt, frankly. Any of the Pakistani stuff, I would avoid that, because you want to make sure that you will have the confidence that comes from it when you put it on for the first time. So you need something that's going to fit you at least well, if not perfectly. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But neither should you go for the super expensive one, because once you have one, you're probably going to want another one very, very soon. So you have that, A, the variety, and B, I'm not afraid to beat this one up.
Agreed. I'll add another angle at it as well.
Yet another angle.
The kilt is the basis of the outfit. So I would say, if you're going to cheap out, for lack of a better term, or buy accessories that you're going to want to upgrade later, then I would say invest the money in the kilt itself, but maybe buy a less expensive sporran. Maybe buy a cheaper belt or a cheaper kilt pin, or maybe forego the kilt pin and put that, $20-30 into the kilt. So it's how you build the outfit over time. It's not going to happen unless you're independently wealthy. It's not going to happen in a day. You're going to build this outfit over time. Your tastes are going to change over time. The things you want to accentuate the parts of your heritage that you want to explore, whether it's a Nordic part, whether it's a Scottish part, whether it's your family tartan, whether it's your Irish county tartan. All these things are going to kind of, you're going to have different periods where you like one thing more than another, or you want to accentuate one thing more than another. So I would say start with the kilt, start with that, and then build the outfit around it. And then, if you're gonna cheap out in some of the accessories, and then replace them over time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's about it. I agree with ourselves. Yes.
And be sure about those measurements.
Yeah. Absolutely. Cool. Mr. Mac.
All right, so we have Matt asking. He's got his Earthrise tartan a couple weeks ago, and he loves it. His question for us is, which tartan do we wish we would have designed that we didn't?
Glen Africa. Which tartan do we wish we would have designed that we didn't?
For what reason, though?
Meaning, like, essentially, what's the best tartan that's out there, or the most popular tartan that's out there?
Or a tartan that we think we could have done better with the concept because they screwed it up.
Okay.
Okay.
Rocky's like, oh,
Because we actually
got a list
there is
for it.
actually an example of that where you actually kind of did that.
Which example?
Linda Clifford's Firefighters tartan.
It wasn't me. It was Kelly.
I know, but
It wasn't us redoing hers. Kelly didn't know that hers existed
Right.
when she did hers.
okay. Bad
Yeah.
example. Just strike it from the record. Never mind.
No. I'm trying to make sure we're not insulting Linda Clifford's design, because I actually don't mind her design. It's a completely different vibe than our firefighters.
Okay.
So hers reminds me of it's black with yellow, red, and I think there's like a white stripe in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me of like lights flashing. Mm-hmm. So if that's what they were and if that is what they were going for, it's just me projecting really. If that's what they were going for, they nailed it. That is not what Kelly was going for.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a completely different design.
Okay.
What tartans do we think did a bad job? Many of the Commonwealth game
I was
tartans.
gonna say it always comes down to the Commonwealth game tartans. There's so many bad ones.
Yeah, I wish we.
The most recent one I liked. The set size is kind of ridiculous, but I dig it. What else?
I think there was some. There's several whiskey tartans, and Angel Share is good, but there are several other ones that I think were lackluster in their final design, final resting place. Trying to think any tartans that we like that we wish we would have done.
I don't have that kind of enviousness.
Yeah.
I do have a feeling sometimes like a designer missed the mark. I'm really struggling to come up with an example, but usually for me it comes down to it's too simple. Like somebody did like 2 colors, great, done.
Sobieski Stewarts.
I have captured the true essence of the Glen of the whatever. I mean, it's just like, did ya? I don't know. Overly simple tartan sometimes kind of like just feel disappointed to me.
If you look at the Vestiarium Scoticum,
Oh, a
lot of them are very, very, like the Cameron tartan in there, Hamilton, all the 4 or 3 square with a big block and a white stripe or a yellow stripe or whatever in the other section. McQueen, all of those are very, very, very simple in that book.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of envy. I'm envious maybe that someone thought of a particular topic to make a tartan for
Right.
before we thought of
Right.
it.
I think that's more where my brain comes down to. Yeah.
And I
did just think of one.
I like several tartans that other people have done. Like there's nothing there's a lot of them that I'm like, oh, I really like that. But
You won't let me say it.
I'm not going to let him say it.
You're going to
Apparently.
be upset if I say it.
Okay, fair. Here you go. I got one.
Meet me a camera too.
I got one. Isle of Skye. I really like the Isle of Skye tartan.
Uh-huh.
I wish we would have done that. It's obviously been hugely popular. So that's one that I would say it's not my normal motif for a tartan. It's pretty subtle. It's a bit softer, not quite feminine, but it has purple in it, so it kind of leans a little bit that direction. It's got a lavender kind of color. Yeah. But it is a beautiful design.
It's very non-binary tartan.
Exactly. But yeah, I would say Isle of Skye if I'm jealous of a tartan and or its success. Isle of Skye just because of the beauty of it.
Okay, I could see that. I think it's pretty darn perfect. So I don't know
Yeah.
what I would do that would be different.
No,
But-
I wouldn't do anything to change it.
Oh,
That's my
just
point.
wish you could have the bragging rights of having.
Yeah, I'm answering
it.
his
Okay.
original question,
Okay.
not the question we morphed it into.
Okay. Well, all right. Jokes about you not letting me do things aside. Help me. I've actually done this. I actually have done this because there's a couple of years ago now, I think it was, this gentleman came out with a tartan for Starfleet. Yes, I'm a nerd. We know this. And I looked at it, and I really was hoping that that we could offer it, but he has it restricted down to very tightly with only members of his particular club. And I thought the design was way too simple. And that was part of the inspiration behind my pet tartan project, which is called the Spirit of the Dragon, which is a tartan based around the colors of the Marriott carpet that has become such a huge thing for Dragon Con. Because the colors of that carpet would be perfect for so many cosplay people, including Starfleet, X-Men, other superheroes. It's got these primary colors in like reds and golds and blues and black, and it's just like, it could look cool. It would have the sizzle of being about the con for anybody who's a fan of the con, and it, it'd have a little bit of that little dog whistle thing because everybody knows the Marriott carpet, and it would also be such a great blend for all these different things that people like to do with it. Whereas the Starfleet, the official Starfleet tartan, is just kind of like, So I've actually been down that road. It took me a minute to realize it, but yeah, I did do that.
Okay.
Yep.
Fair. Mac, did you have any?
The only one that pops in my head is one we talked about this morning.
Oh, what was that?
We talked about Stone of Destiny this morning.
Yes, I forgot about that.
We had this. We had this
yeah.
discussion.
We literally had this discussion this morning.
Like what? I mean, I like the color palette. I like everything about it, but something just seems off to me. Like I like it, but it just.
You do that a lot.
What? There's something about it that just is keeping me.
He's not in touch
Just
with his
a little bit
feelings
off.
like we
Is
are
it a
here.
color?
It's
No,
set
it's
size.
set size.
Oh, it's a set size. Because
Yeah.
a lot of time I'm used to you saying like, I really like this tartan, but I wish they'd done the green a little darker. I
Oh,
wish they'd done
Glen
the orange
Affric.
or oranger. Yeah,
I love the concept. I love the idea. I just hate that green that's in it.
got it.
I love everything else about it. I just hate that green.
But in this case, it was a set size.
Set size. Yep.
What's it, like 4 inches, 4.5 inches,
Yeah.
something like that? It's really small.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's got a picnic blanket kind of vibe in here. It's like, bloop.
Yeah. It's got 2 shades of blue that are real nice, like a darker blue and then like a grayish kind of blue. It's a nice looking tartan if it was tweaked. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
And
agree.
it's Stone of Destiny.
Stone of Destiny. No, Stone. Yes, is it called? It's called
Yeah.
Stone of Destiny. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a Stone of Scone.
Yeah, I know.
For that, yeah.
I'm just wondering what the inspiration for the color choices and stuff were for something. I'll have to look at it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
House
we
of
have it
Decorated.
over in
We have
production.
it over
Oh,
in
yeah?
production.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Very good. All right.
That
Cheers.
was fun.
Yeah,
was a fun
indeed.
one.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, Eric.
That'd be my turn. All right. Colton Derek Cunningham mentions that many kilt makers don't seem to require a hip measurement when you order. How important is the hip measurement, and what does it affect on the kilt? What's the deal with hip measurements?
Now he said many kilt makers don't ask for the hip
It
measurement.
says many kilt makers don't require a hip measurement when you order.
I would say as politely as possible, you're looking at the wrong kilt makers. The hip measurement is important. A kilt, in theory, is, or in practicality, in actuality, is a custom-made garment for the most part. So the 3 measurements that any kilt maker, good kilt maker making it for you, should need are your waist, your hip measurement, and the length. If there's no hip measurement, that means that they're just making it to some kind of standard taper. It means it will not fit you as a custom garment should fit you, or you're looking at just off the peg cheap kilts, in which case you get what you get and you don't get upset, as my son's, preschool teacher used to say.
Right.
But yeah, no, a hip measurement it's pretty important, especially if you have a skinnier waist and you're muscular in the rear end, or you're a woman with a bit of an hourglass shape, or alternatively, if you are a man and built like a tube. If you're not average proportion, then you need the hip measurement. If you are built, hourglass kind of shape, then what's going to happen is, if the kilt wants to be, I'm going to use straight up and down. If it wants to be straight up and down, and you're built like that, then what's going to happen is one of 2 things. Either it's going to be real loose at the top and tight around the widest part of your rear end, or you're going to have it fit at the waist and fit at the hip, but that's going to actually pull the pleats. They're going to kind of go at a bit of an angle across the back. I'm not even joking. I've seen kilts that look like you didn't drink your V8. They were on an angle because it didn't fit right. So, yeah, that's if you have a rear end and the kilt is built more straight up vertical. Now, the opposite problem exists as well. If you are built vertical, you're a cylinder, you're a tube, you suffer from what we affectionately call Neanderthal disease, then what's going to happen is on the back of the kilt, if the kilt tapers out and allows for a like 6 or 7 inch difference between your waist and the hip measurement, and you're just straight up and down, what's going to happen is this part will fit you tight, and then you have nothing to support the hips, so it's just going to kind of bleh. And then you're going to have a weird, like wavy stage curtain-y kind of effect.
Like curtains, like stage curtains. Yeah.
Exactly, across the widest part of your butt. And it's not going to have that nice tapered form fit and then hang straight down with a nice straight pleats from there. It's going to look disheveled no matter how well the kilt is made. If it is not made to your measurements, it will look disheveled in the back. Mac, do you have any thoughts you want to add into lack of hip measurements or weird hip measurements on a kilt?
No, I think you're hitting pretty much everything there, with especially with that weird angle thing. We see that quite a bit at festivals. When a woman buys one of our, like a woman that's really, really curvy buys one of our off the rack casual kilts, where we make off the rack casual kilts for men with a 4-inch difference waist to hips. And if a woman with an 8-inch difference buys it, it pulls all the pleats to one side, so they kind of, they're not quite right. And when they try to do that at like Celtic Classic, it's like, can I just make this for you and just do it to your measurements, please? Let me just. No, I want it today. Oh, okay, here you go. Like, I don't want to sell that kilt because it's not going to look right. Now, thankfully, a lot of them will do. I want this to wear today. They'll get that to wear today, but they also put an order in for something else. And then once they get the new one, they're like, oh yeah, now I want to get rid of this one and get another one. So, but yeah, I think you're hitting pretty much everything square.
Okay. All right. Do you have any thoughts?
No, that's basically it.
Yeah. So, a proper kilt maker making a custom garment to your measurements will always want your hip measurements. If they don't want your hip measurements, it's an off-the-rack kilt, or it's pre-made, or they don't know what they're doing. Run.
Right.
If you just want an off-the-rack kilt, it's a great deal. It's super cheap, and that's all you can afford. Great, have at it. But understand that you're not getting a custom tailored garment, so lower your expectations. Any kilt maker worth their salt will ask you for 3 measurements minimum: waist, hips, length. Cool.
Yep.
All right, Mr. Mack.
Alrighty, we have Nancy. She is saying, Hey, my
Nancy.
husband is more blind than I am. I can at least see colors and have a general idea of what tartan looks like. He has no clue. How would I describe it?
Wait, what?
Her husband is blind.
Okay. Actual blind.
Is more blind than she is.
Okay.
She can at least see colors and has a general idea of what tartan looks like. He has no clue. How can she describe it to him?
The colors?
Or no, if he's blind from birth, how do you describe tartan?
Yeah, there's 2 different ways to see it. I mean, I don't know how blind is blind. I mean,
yeah, let's assume blind.
Okay.
I would describe it as a set pattern of stripes going horizontal and vertical that intersect. Where they intersect, they overlap each other. Well, they overlap each other both directions. But where they overlap themselves, you get the true color. Where they overlap a different color, you get a little bit of a muddying or a mixture of colors. But it is a vertical and horizontal overlapping of stripes. Is artistically, I guess, the way I would describe it.
Yeah, I'm wondering if you could lean into the lines and make a braille experience where you basically get some craft copper sheeting or some styrofoam or something and just like draw the pattern into something he can actually touch, so you can feel, oh, that's a thick line and those are thin lines, and oh, it all forms a square. You know, like kind of make a 3D rendition of a tartan. If we're talking like 100% blind, then
Yeah.
something like that, you know. Partially blind, I don't know what that would entail, but I'm thinking it's about the texture.
Seems like she's colorblind, he's blind.
Yeah. So that's what I would think. I mean, it's like ceiling tiles or bathroom tiles, but it's more interesting than that. So I would like try and build a 3D model to demonstrate it somehow. I don't know.
You know, I was even thinking like the fabric, like paint that.
Yeah,
you
fabric
can-
paint would be an easy way to do
you
it.
could just kind of, you could like literally print out
Yeah.
a tartan,
And then go over it with
an
fabric
image,
paint.
and just go right over top
the
of it.
puffy or the puffy glue.
Yeah,
the
that's
craft
what I
stuff.
was-
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a good idea.
Because then you could feel right across that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would also point out that they make squares. So it's assuming that it's not like a Welsh tartan where the warp and the weft are different. That it's essentially makes a square. So it's not.
Well, that's what I said.
No, understood. But my point is, it's not it doesn't make rectangles. It's not. You know, the pattern is the stripes aren't 5 inches across this way and 8 inches across that way. It's 5 inches and 5 inches. So for flipped 90 degrees. I like the idea of the puffy paint thing.
Yeah, I like
someone
that.
actually.
Steve Walter said about using guitar strings with different wrappings to represent
Maybe.
different colors.
Yeah. Yeah, that's okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. I see what you mean. Yeah, because you get the braided steel strings and you get the nylon strings like that. That's a really cool idea. Yeah, I mean anything where you can vary the material or like use like hemp twine to represent one color and a cotton string to represent another, and I mean that could be fun too. That'd be neat.
I feel a middle school art project coming on.
It's like that.
Yeah.
It's like that. But that's neat.
It is. Trying to figure out how to describe things in a way you don't describe them
No, wait, no.
tickles a different part of my brain.
You use the guitar strings, man, but like you electrify it so it's like a theremin. So like when you run your finger over the one string, it makes one tone, and when you run over another string, it makes another tone. It's like ooh.
And when you touch the third string, you get electrocuted.
And you have the
That's
music
great.
of the tartan, man. Like each thread is like a different tune, man. Groovy.
Maybe it does have weed in it. I don't know. All right.
I'm all then. Cheers.
Yeah. All right, Eric.
I'm still coming down from the last question, man. I'm curious to know if you decide to try any of those things. Actually, I think that's
Yeah.
really neat. I love the fact that you want to share like that too. That's very touching. Okay.
It is her husband.
Yeah, it's cool. Richard Whittington is wanting clarification. He says, when you guys talk about the culture, what culture do you mean? Do you mean Scottish, Irish, the diaspora? He didn't say Irish. I just add that in there.
Fair.
When we talk about the culture, quote unquote, what actually are we trying to refer to? You want the long answer or the short answer?
The shorter answer is yes. We're talking about the culture. Essentially, when we started the show, we were trying to think, okay, well, what are we going to talk about? It's a Q&A show. So what are we going to do? Let's talk about kilts, all right? Given. We know that stuff. What else are we going to talk about? We could talk about history. We could talk about Highland dress. We can talk about all these different things. So trying to come up with a short phrase on how are we going to describe the show in a very, very short title. So culture. It's for the most part, it's Gallic, Celtic culture is kind of where our interests / knowledge / expertise lie. Expertise, I'll put air quotes around for some of the things. But it's just basically about the love and expression and the being students of the culture. What culture? This culture. As we do the show and kind of sharing our knowledge and sharing our excitement for everything. It's honestly the nerding out, the excitement. That's the fun part. That's the thing that like it gets. The thing that I think, if I'm going to speak out of turn about what everyone out there in the interwebs, the only reason why you would like us is because we're excited about this stuff. We geek out about the same things that you guys geek out about. And that's pretty obvious in the videos, I hope, that we put out, that we're honestly excited about this stuff. And we share the same passions that you guys have. So that's kind of the whole origin of the show, is we just want to be, the guys who dig this stuff as much, if not more, than you do.
Yeah.
And share that passion.
Yeah. I think to me, it's basically that culture is the umbrella. That term, when we're using it, especially in like promotional materials or whatever, like that's just the overall umbrella. Because unless a culture exists literally on an island, no culture exists on an island. If you're talking about like 15th century Japan, okay, or you're talking about the indigenous peoples of Australia, there's some cultures that are very inward focused and don't change much, but most cultures across the globe and across history do have cross-pollination and influences from other places, and we are trying to look at that and take that into account here now in the 21st century. Basically, that we have we aren't going to limit ourselves to talking about just the Highlands. We're not going to limit ourselves to just talking about Ireland after the Easter Uprising. We're not going to limit ourselves to talking about Welsh mythology. These things have some common roots. It's a tree. We want to look at all the branches and all the fruits of that tree. We don't want to just limit ourselves. So we will try and preface things in individual discussions, where it's like, okay, this is about the Scottish perspective on this, or this is about what happened in Ireland. But it's all interrelated, and to a degree, it has cross-pollinated and enhanced and caused itself to evolve in ways that other cultural areas of the world don't as readily. You know what I mean? And the diaspora is a huge part of that. If there had not been the diaspora from these let's call them the root countries over the past 200 years, new ideas and new things would not have happened. So we have to take a holistic view of it in order to do it justice.
Yeah. And on a personal level ish, I will also say we try to stay in our lane and make sure we're talking about the things that we know about. It's using the example from yesterday from the question list. Somebody was asking us about how to care for fur and things like that. And I'm like, Eric's like, well, I can look it up and I can do that. And I was just like, but we're not like fur care experts. We'd have to contact dry cleaners and go through the whole thing to understand how to care for fur if something happens to it, because we don't want to give bad advice. Anything that comes out of our mouths, either we know about, or we're going to give you a percentage of like, well, I'm like 80% positive, double check me on this thing. Don't take this as fact, because we want to be either right or go on record as saying we're not 100% positive. So we talk about the things that we like talking about, that we do know about, and we just use culture as the umbrella term because there's other things we want to talk about too. We want to, if we go down a rabbit hole talking about 1980s Transformers cartoons, we know about 1980s Transformers cartoons.
That might be outside of the mission objective.
A little
for the
bit,
show. Just a touch,
but it's okay because it's my show. I'll do what I want. So anyway, that's what we mean by culture. It means the stuff that we care about, for the most part, having to do with Celtic Gallic nations as well as 1980s cartoons. All right.
I don't know if you helped her hurt our credibility.
Don't matter. We have no credibility. All right. That was you?
That was me.
All right, Mr. Mack.
All right, so this question just came in. I'm kind of gonna bump it ahead of some here,
Okay.
because I think we need to help this guy out.
Uh-oh.
We have Michael. He's saying, okay, wife had a backspin. Now she is not thrilled with my kilt wearing.
A backspin, meaning
backspin.
she's changed her
She
mind.
changed her mind.
course.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
She admits to being a bit embarrassed and feels like I put her at risk of dealing with a local bubba that wants to start something over my looks. Now what?
We have
Yeah, it's a similar but different
very
question.
similar.
Yeah.
Very similar.
Yeah. We'll do that one later.
Okay.
So the wife has decided that she's now concerned about your kilt wearing after she was, positive about it before.
Concern for his welfare, it sounds like.
No concern for his and or her welfare.
Both. It
Yeah.
seems like it was the way the question's reading.
Okay.
It sounds like there was a bad experience. The part of it is, I guess, the way you carry yourself. Part of it's the way, like, are you open to conversations, or are you, do you look standoffish? Are you wearing it to bars where there's going to be drunk people, who are going to want to start, either start something, or drunk girls are going to try to reach up your kilt, or like, is it in an environment where inhibitions are down, or is it are you going to the opera in your kilt? If you're going to the opera, little chance that someone's going to try to pick a fight with you, whether you're wearing a kilt or something else. So I would hope. So I'm curious what you would.
Did something happen?
Yeah, did something happen?
Was there a trigger?
or how do you bring her back from the edge outside of, because she's
That's a
not
tough one.
worried about people judging her, which is the common thing we hear from wives.
Right.
Or it's like, people are going to think you're weird, therefore I'm weird, one part removed.
It's related to that.
Yeah, or they're going to judge me
Yeah, it's
because
still-
you're doing that.
It's still a judgment. Judgment is still the cornerstone. Negative judgment is still the cornerstone, but she's worried
Yeah.
about actual safety or discomfort, at least. So, wow, that's a toughie, man.
What about a compromise? What about doing it like, okay, we go to the festival, we go to a Scottish festival or a Highland festival, and I wear it there, and maybe not wear it out on our dates as much. Just kind of gear it, like getting her more comfortable with him wearing it, and in an atmosphere where it's more welcoming in a way.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of building her confidence and his confidence up at the same time with doing it. I'm just
Yeah, no.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. I would also say it's, the environment. So again, if you're going somewhere where there's if it's to the movies and you think there's going to be a bunch of kids, or you think there's going to be, local yokels who are going to be, weird about stuff, then maybe forego it there. If it doesn't bother you, then anytime you're going out with your friends, or you're going out to the grocery store or to Lowe's or Home Depot or whatever, and she's not with you, wear it then. And when you come home without the black eye, then she'll know that you weren't confronted, you weren't beat up. Make sure that you're not, if something negative does happen, don't give her to you by yourself without her. Don't give her reason to fear it by saying like, oh, you won't believe what happened to me at Lowe's today. There's this guy, he was messing with me about my freaking kilt and they had to kick him out of the store. Don't recount that story to her, maybe. I'm not saying lie, but I'm saying don't tell her all the bad things that happen if something bad happens. But I would, wear it either by yourself, with your friends, or areas where, or, places where you don't think you're going to have any kind of pushback, shall we say. Or, ask her before you go out and say, you're going to go out on a date at a nice restaurant. And you say, hey, I was thinking about wearing my kilt tonight. Would you mind if I wear my kilt, or would you prefer I don't? And give her the option to say, nah, not tonight, not tonight. Okay, that's fine. And then after a couple times, if she says no, then the third time, and she says, well, say, hey, I'm going to wear my kilt tonight. If she says, well, I really rather you wouldn't. Look, the last 2 times you asked me not to and I didn't, I'm in a kilt mood today. I want to wear my kilt. And therefore it's evening out. It's no relationship should be given 100% of the time to what the other person wants. That's unfair. That's a dictatorship. So a little bit of balance, a little bit of, hey, last 2 times you asked me not to, I didn't. I'd like to wear it today. I got a new tartan. I really want to wear this one today. Or it's tartan day tomorrow. I want to wear the kilt tomorrow.
You have background?
So he has responded back. He said, no bars. I wear them just out shopping in local public so far. She says now she thought I just wanted kilts for fests and fairs. She's not happy with it with full time. And yes, they talked about it first.
Oh,
Right.
Okay. So meaning no disrespect to her, but the idea of someone picking a fight might be a bit hyperbolic, or
And-
catastrophization, as we say in the biz.
He's also added another note here too. Sorry, Eric.
No.
When we've been together, she has seen and heard all she has seen and heard is people approach us and compliment the attire. There has been no problem today, but he does like some of the ideas that we've been saying so far.
You're right on the catastrophization.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, she's using the abstract excuse of someone's eventually going to pick a fight with you, but they haven't. Mm-hmm. That's the point. She doesn't feel comfortable. She has something. Not saying she's crazy. I'm saying she has something in her head that is sticking there that she doesn't want it to occur. So she's using that as an excuse, as a proxy.
Yeah.
I put little to no.
Yeah, because I had another thought about this, but I don't know if it applies now because it sounds like it's more. She's trying to illustrate a catastrophe, catastrophization, where she's feeling awkward with him in public when she thought it was just a fancy dress for fancy dress parties kind of a thing. Viewing it more as a costume than daily wear. But if he's actually wearing it around town and getting compliments, then what I was thinking is not going to apply.
So either he's getting compliments and she doesn't like that he's getting attention, period, and either she's not or women are paying attention to my man and I'm a little insecure, potentially. So I would say the only who was I talking to about this? It may have been you. The only thing you can do in that instance is shower her with more attention. She may be feeling insecure for a reason. And I'm not saying this is all on her. This might be on you. This might be her feeling insecure in the relationship, and this is just kind of how it's manifested. So maybe, bringing her flowers and saying, or doing things for her to make her feel more special,
maybe.
So that she doesn't feel threatened by other people complimenting you on your dress. Or maybe she feels underdressed and she feels like you wearing a kilt is overdressing for an occasion. It may be that kind of balanced dynamic difference.
Yeah, I think the talking about it is still going to have to happen. There's no way around this. I do think I'll throw in what I was going to say earlier a little bit anyway. I think that there's something to be said for putting down your freaking phone. I have friends who I know several women who lately there's been apparently an uptick in random attacks on women on the streets of like New York and stuff, where basically just guys come up and just punch women in the face. And there's a lot of unfortunate misogyny out there. There's a lot of irrational, hate-filled activity out there, and it's all getting documented, and a lot of it's getting blown up by the media. So I think that, I'm not talking about networks. I'm talking about like things like TikTok and Facebook and people sharing stuff and the rumor mill and stuff, and like something that's, in some cases, things are happening, becoming ever present in the back of your mind because it's in the zeitgeist right now on social media. So maybe take a step back from that and think, okay, is this really what's happening out in the real world, or should I just try and pay attention to the here and now, not what I'm picking up off of media or the internet or whatever, and just saying, okay, we're out. We're at the store like we always are. This person complimented him, and now we're continuing shopping. And that's it. Think about what's happening in real time versus what might be, the little demons in the back of your brain. But I don't know if that applies to what we're talking about. It sounds more like it's a general.
No, but I kind of like where you're going, and I'm gonna bring it around back to I'm out shopping.
As you do.
So, and back to the insecurity thing. So, and again, I don't know you from Adam. I don't know your wife from Adam. Or from Eve. I don't know. So, here's just a conjecture. So, if I'm out, Eric, you're my wife for this exercise.
Okay.
So, if we're out and a woman comes up and says, "Hey, I love the kilt. Oh my God, you look so great. Blah, blah, blah. And she starts fawning over me. If my reaction is to turn away from my wife and start talking to that person, and I'm obviously excited and I'm really into the whole discussion, and my wife may think that I'm flirting with that person, even though it's not what my intention is. I'm just excited someone's, finally complimenting my outfit, which I've never had my entire life. If someone comes up to me and says like, "Oh my God, I love your outfit," you might be like, "Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, my wife and I are just out here at the store, just having a good time, buying groceries or whatever it is." If you are including her in the conversation, then it's no longer a threat. It's you're saying, "Hey, I'm with this person, thank you for the compliment for us." You're kind of helping, move the compliment to the two of you, not just the way you have looked. Or she may feel less threatened, for lack of a better term, by you inadvertently paying too much attention to this other person, or your ego gets blown up real quick because you're getting compliments and she's not getting compliments. So
Maybe.
I don't know the actual scenario. I'm just trying to think of other things outside the box a little bit. So I don't want to just say it's your wife's fault. It's in her head. There's something wrong with her. It may not be. It may be something that you're doing that makes her feel less valued or less desired in that moment. So look at how to make sure that imbalance doesn't exist, because ultimately, as much as we sell these things and wear these things every day, it's just a piece of clothing. That's your wife. You want to make sure she doesn't feel undervalued, whether it's, in that moment or for any moment. Period. She is the thing that matters. And you don't want to give up who you are or, have some kind of weird imbalance in the relationship, but if there is, you don't want it to be on you. So make sure that you're doing your part to make her feel valued while also maintaining your own identity and your own individualness in your dress. That's all I got.
I could keep going, but
Okay.
I'll try to stop.
If you have something salient that you must say.
It may have nothing to do with you. It may be something that's entirely in her past. It could be a trauma response. I would look and see if there's anything of a similar tone that's happening in the relationship. Are there any other flaws in your communication? Are there any other pain points that you've experienced in social settings that might be parallel to this? And this is just kind of like an escalation, or like this is the same kind of thing that's come up before. It just, this time the kilt is the fulcrum as opposed to something else that was. See if there isn't something deeper going on. That's my relationship advice for the night. So
Bottom line is communication. It's if you are open and honest and transparent in communication, life gets a whole lot easier. So start there. Cool. All right, we are at the halfway mark of the show. I think we are just about ready for our
Hey guys, our latest ambassador, Phoenix Ferris, lives in Wilmington, North Carolina with his mom, brother, 4 cats, and a dog. Clearly, allergies are not a problem. Phoenix describes himself as a natural-born storyteller. When he was just 13, he started writing a play that eventually evolved into a novel, and now that novel is a trilogy. That's how it goes, I know. Now, Phoenix knows it's difficult for young writers, but he is hoping to have those books published eventually. He says, "If I could make a career out of being a storyteller, acting, directing, writing for the stage, novels, that would be my absolute dream." Now, Phoenix is no fool. Just in case, he is headed to college to study English and education. His goal is to become an English teacher. On the heritage front, Phoenix's mom has family roots in Ireland. One of those ancestors was one James Williams of South Carolina, a colonel in the Continental Army and a hero of the Southern campaign of the American Revolution. From his dad, Phoenix inherited Scottish, Irish, a touch of Slavic, and also connections to Clan Ferguson. Phoenix has always been extremely proud of these Celtic roots. He says, "The Scottish and Irish are extremely hardworking peoples who have fought against all odds to continue to exist as they want to. I admire their determination." As Phoenix sees it, history is full of examples of Celtic culture enduring after others have attempted to erase it. But the more they were pushed, the more these people fought back, and he feels that such unwavering confidence in the face of overwhelming odds is an incredible legacy for him. Phoenix has always found Highland fashion appealing as well. His first kilt was a utility kilt, and it was a gift on his 16th birthday. He absolutely fell in love with it. Before that, he was kind of a jeans and t-shirt kid, but now he's pretty much a serial kilter. He says, "The minute I put that kilt on, I felt like a completely new person. I felt like I had finally found something that made me feel comfortable and confident in my appearance. I've noticed that the majority of other kilt wearers are gentlemen older than me who didn't get into it until much later in life. They often say they wish they would have had the confidence to do it sooner. I don't think we need to start with confidence in order to do something. There's always going to be a learning curve, but it's on you to determine whether or not you're willing to learn. We stretch our potential by challenging ourselves. When you take a huge leap, no matter where you land at the end of it, you'll be further along than where you started." I just love that attitude. And you know what? It gives me hope. Kids like Phoenix are going to be just fine. So thank you, Phoenix, for that. I really appreciate it. And good luck with the writing.
Here's to our buddy Phoenix.
Cheers, Phoenix. Slange. And speaking as a failed writer myself, I wish you all the luck in the world.
Not failed. You write stuff for us.
I haven't written any fiction for my own sake in decades.
Fiction. No, we write. But you write scripts.
I've
You
not
write
been
stuff
a
for the
true
website.
creative writer. I've been a mercenary for decades, but as a
Hired gun.
well, yeah, essentially yes. But I stopped writing fiction for my own enjoyment a long time ago.
Fair.
Yeah. So, moving along. All right. I mean, assuming you're ready to move along. Okay.
If we must.
All right. Thistle Boy 1745 says, "As tartan designers, what are your favorite colors or color palettes to work with in your designs, like modern, ancient, muted, or specific colors? What do we like to play with when we're designing a tartan?
What do we like to play with?
Color-wise.
Designing tartan. All right.
I know what I would say, but
In designing a tartan, I tend to steer away from specific color palettes, but I end up working typically within them. So I'm not thinking to myself, okay, I have to use a muted blue and a muted green and a muted red. I can't go outside of that. I'll use what I deem as appropriate for the design itself. So I will pick a lot of colors that have inspiration to me within the design. Like when we did what I'm wearing it today, when we did the Nordic Heritage, we looked at, the colors that were available back then. We looked at, all the different types of things. We thought about, the journey. We thought about the colors, the symbolism. Yeah, we thought
cultural
about
significance. Yeah.
we kind of boil all, put all these ideas, these ingredients in a pot, boil it down, and okay, what are the commonalities? What are the things that we can say within 6 to 7 colors or less? What are the colors we want to use? And then what shades of those colors do we want to use within the design? Or is there a particular shade of like yellow? If we're going to use gold for the color gold or for metal gold, then we would use a muted yellow kind of color versus a bright bold. So I wouldn't say there's a specific color palette, but I would say the colors have to have meaning and symbolism within the design.
I think that, I think that's really the attitude that most modern designers take, is that you're more likely to think about the concept you have and then choose the colors individually, because we have the ability to do this digitally, which makes it a lot easier, as opposed to the color palettes were originally invented as ways, frankly, to sell more cloth and to offer more variety, especially if people were bored with the version of their clan tartan that they were used to. And then somebody comes along and says, well, hey, have you tried it muted? It's like the stromboli to your pizza. That's for you, Adam. Like that. So I think it's and you use like marled threads and stuff, which is not something people would have thought of doing back in the day either. So it's kind of like people more often think outside the box with this stuff as opposed to thinking in those palettes. However, we have noted in discussions that people do tend to have palettes that they instinctively prefer, as opposed, like
Or
they're more,
trends.
or trends
well,
that they're
yep.
more likely to want to own more than others. So
Yes, I would. Yeah, and I 100% agree. There, and it's fact that the mills just kind of expanded from modern to to ancient to okay. Now we also offer weathered. Oh, now we also offer muted. Just because it's a way for the mill, which is a commercial enterprise, to differentiate their products from everyone else's products.
yeah,
So it 100% makes sense. Now within the let's do this within the standard color palettes.
yeah.
Weathered, modern, muted, ancient. What color palette, and Mac, I'll bring you in for this one as well. What color palette within the standard color palette of clan tartans do you prefer?
I lean more towards muted.
Muted? Okay. Eric,
Same.
muted?
Muted or weathered.
Okay. Yeah, I probably lean towards weathered because I like the earthy kind of feel vibe to it. But historically speaking, moderns and ancients have been the biggest ones.
Right.
Now, I think partially why I like doing weathereds, and this may speak to both of you as well, is to do something different. Like I have a Royal Stewart weathered tartan kilt, not right now, but I have one in the closet. That one I would never consider myself getting a Royal Stewart, the red tartan you've seen everywhere for time immemorial. I would
Right.
never consider buying one of those for myself. But when Martin Mills did it in weathered, I was like, ooh, I like it because people are going to look at it and go, I recognize it, but it's different. It's 10 degrees off of off of square.
Yeah.
So that's why I like that one, and that's the thing that appeals to me within it. I think that's what a lot of people like about weathered or muted color palettes is that it's not the exact everyday normal one. It's something a little bit different.
Yeah, I think that, I think the concept for the tartan tends to be more important to us, both of us, and all three of us, as opposed to what palette we would start with. I mean, like my Spirit of the Dragon idea, you could say it lends itself towards a modern palette. Okay, but it's the concept first, and then the palette second. But everybody's got their own approach on this.
Yeah.
And everybody's got a different idea of what a good concept for a tartan is too.
That's true.
If only
That's
there were
true.
a way we could learn more about what people think.
Oh, but wait, there is. All right. Question of the day. We put together an actual survey. Survey? Yeah, survey.
A survey.
Yes, survey. Somebody over there is going to be putting the link down in the comments. So we actually want to know what color palettes you guys like. So do you like modern, weathered, muted? Do I want to know, what weight of fabric you like? These are all the things that we are very curious about. So tell us. Survey we put together takes about 5 minutes. Think about the kilts that are in your closet. Think about your favorite tartans. Think about concepts. Think about all of it. And then go to Google and tell us.
Yeah, it's technically a Google form. It's a Google form, but it's a survey. It's like, what, 5 questions?
I have no idea.
Yeah, it's only 4 or 5 questions. But basically because we were like, that's a good question. Let's find out.
Yes.
So we have the power.
Indeed.
What
So,
do you, the viewers at home, think?
Indeed. And
Do it
for
for
doing
the
that, you
kids.
get our eternal gratitude. Yeah,
Eternal gripey gratitude.
exactly. So, yeah, get down there. Tell us. We're going to plug it again at the end of the show. I'm very curious what other people think because there are trends. So
Absolutely.
it will evolve over time. Weathered tartans started in the 1950s, weren't really that much of a thing until the 2010s. That kind of decade is when they started really picking up steam.
Really.
And I think it was probably on the back of the tweeds and things like that, picking up steam in the rental and the hire industry. So there are trends within Highland wear. So I'm curious. Snapshot 2024. Where are we at? Let us know. Take the survey. Do it now. Thank you,
Over to you, Mac.
Mr. Mac. Give me a
All I
question.
can think of is, would you like to take a survey? That's all I can think about.
It was the prettiest survey in the world.
All right. So our favorite defender, Canuck defender, wants to know what other belts look good with a kilt.
That's like a superhero name.
He is
Captain America and Canuck
he
Defender.
kind of is. He kind of is a superhero.
What was the question? I was thinking of a superhero now.
What other belts look good with a kilt?
What other belts look good
Belts,
with a kilt?
yes.
Those sold by USAKilts.com.
Yeah, other belts are compared to what? Just to
Compared
a
to a kilt
standard,
belt.
to a
Yeah,
regular
still.
kilt belt.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess he's taking the standard
Yeah,
kilt belt that we
yeah.
all wear.
You're not wearing
throwing
one of
that
your
away.
special ones today, are you?
No,
Ian is. He's
probably.
Got his new,
he's
got
been
his new toy on.
He's been digging that for a while
he
now.
really, really has.
The key in my mind is it has to be like at least 2 inches wide, if not 2.5 inches wide. So a wider belt, but is baseline is the key. There are things called Ranger belts,
Right.
which is a 2.5, 2 inch or so wide belt that kind of overlaps itself, and then it has a little 3/4 inch, 1 inch buckle and strap that goes over top, but it essentially makes just like a cylinder around you. So that's one. There's the 2-prong big honkin', quasi weightlifter belt that you can get. But it's just basically it's a fatter version of a standard jeans belt.
Yeah. Those are kind of cool.
Yeah, I don't love it with a kilt. I like if I'm gonna wear a belt with a kilt, I like a bit of a statement piece. I like a bit of a statement piece in the buckle. Frankly, the belt itself, don't care too much about whether it's embossed or pebble grain or smooth or what it is. I like the bling of the kilt belt buckle. That's it's a piece of art. So
I don't think it's all the bling of the buckle necessarily. That's the easiest way to change up your look quickly. I have more buckles than belts by a long shot.
Yeah.
But but like Ian's is a modified artisanal Ranger belt, so he's got like 2 small buckles on a wide belt. So I think as long as it's wide, it will look proportionately correct with a kilt. But then it comes down to what kind of tooling you want on it. What color do you want? Again, we'll have to show people Ian's belt, but it looks like it's very much a gun leather kind of a feel, or a saddle leather, and he's got like the hash mark kind of I don't know if there's a name for it. There's got to be like a waffle kind of
weave,
embossing,
basket
weave, yeah.
basket weave. Thank you.
Yeah.
So it looks kind of military-esque or Western-esque, but it's really cool. So I think you can do a lot. It's just a matter of making sure that width is correct. I don't think.
yeah.
There's no category I would say. It's like, oh, well, you clearly need a British Commandos circa 1955, web belt with your kilt. Like
Sam
although
Brown.
I have seen people
Yeah.
wear those, but
A Sam Brown belt's another one I think looks pretty good with the kilt.
it's very similar to a Ranger belt, though.
Yeah. Now, I'm saying that 2 inches is, my humble opinion, the narrowest I would want a kilt belt to be.
Yeah.
What would be the widest you would want to see a kilt belt?
Oh, my WWE,
Exactly.
winner.
Yes. The UFC Championship belt. Yeah.
Yep.
What would you say the widest in inches? And Mac, you can jump in for this if you
I
want
don't
as
know, I
well.
wouldn't go more than honestly 3.
Yeah. That's kind of what I'm thinking
Yeah.
too. And Mac's not paying attention. So
No,
never mind.
It's a belt, not a girdle.
I'm counting out.
He's measuring with his thumb.
Oh, okay.
It's an inch wide, so it's.
Was your thumb always an inch wide, or did you have it shaved so it was good for measuring?
No, that's
for
actually a
making
pretty
kilts?
good. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a pretty good thing.
Oh, okay.
It's an inch wide.
What if you have 2 different thumbs?
We all have
everyone
two
has-
different thumbs.
No, I have 2 different thumbs. Say,
Look, here's the left one. Here's the right one.
yeah. Now look at my thumbs.
I know.
I'm a mutant.
Oh no, I'm a mutant too. Hey, look at this. My ears don't curl. You ever notice that?
I don't look at your ears too
The
often. but
top
I
of
think
my ears don't curl in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Look fake.
I'm a mutant.
You look kind of fake.
Indeed.
Okay. You could tattoo that. Just
A tattoo, a curl, just a tattoo, a
just-
little
no,
bit of a
no,
shadow.
No, I think not work. No, you should get the lions in there because that's a nice flat surface. It's like
Some Book of Kells lines in there.
next survey.
Yes.
Rocky-
Should Rocky tattoo his ears? And why do you hate me? All right. So
So yeah, how wide is the one you're wearing now?
The one I just have regular, our normal.
And what is it? It's like
These are
2.
what 2.
What would you think the widest is? These are 2 1/4.
Yeah.
I'd say 3 inches is kind of
Yeah, I wouldn't
pushing
go.
it. Because the other thing is, if you're wearing your kilt belt through your belt loops,
Yeah,
some of
that's
your
fair.
belt loops are only
If you're using the sporn strap loops on the
Yeah.
kilt, then yes, that's
so you're gonna run into that problem pretty quick with those. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it's yes, you can wear other styles of belt. It doesn't have to be a kilt belt. Just
Yeah.
bottom line, make sure it's wide enough that it looks good.
with the traditional kilt, you want it to be wide.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yep. Cheers. All right.
Cheers, my
Eric.
dears. Okay. Here's an easy one. James Michael Coffin asks, "How did the term serial kilter come about?"
How did the term serial kilter come
So now,
about?
when you talk about culture, what do you mean by
Indeed.
culture?
I mean, weird phrases that we come
we're
up
weird,
with. We
yeah.
crowdsource weird phrases.
Yes.
I think it was a poll. We were trying to
so.
figure out like different words to utilize within our niche. We are a niche and a niche. We are people who wear kilts often, so much smaller bubble than the rest of the world. So in the KNC group, we were trying to figure out, and this is years ago, what would you call someone who wears a kilt every single day? And it was trying to think of what some of the
I don't
things
remember.
were, like daily kilter.
Yeah.
The word kilter just rubs me the wrong way for some
It's
reason.
like kilt maniac,
Yeah, it's like,
kilt.
and we kind of crowdsourced it. Okay, everyone in the group, what do you think you would call someone who wears a kilt every single day? And somebody, it wasn't us, but somebody used the phrase serial kilter. And I'm like, yep, that's it, done. You win. You win the internet today, my friend.
Yep.
So that was essentially it. There was no big marketing thing around it. It was literally just, asking in the group,
Yeah.
hey, what do you want to call this? Serial kilter. Yep, that makes sense.
Yeah, it really belongs to the group.
Yeah.
Definitely belongs to the Kilts and Culture clan, as it were.
It's so tongue in cheek. It's funny. It's fun. It's making light of the whole thing of serial kilters. I don't know. That's not something to make light of, but we do.
Yeah. That was the only pushback we got.
Yes.
It sounds too much like serial killer, but that's kind of the
It's
point.
kind of the point, exactly.
Kind of the joke.
It's the dark humor side of us.
Ha, 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 ha.
Yes, indeed. Ha ha, that is funny. Murder, am I right?
Tell ya.
So, yeah, that's it,
That's it.
pretty much.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-bum.
Mac.
all right, so we have James.
That's how we're going to introduce him. Ba-dum-bum-ba-dum-bum. Mac.
You have James asking, what is the best question to ask a dry cleaner to get a real sense if they know what they're doing before giving them your kilt to clean and press?
You mean like a secret question? Like a...
Best question
I guess
to
he's
ask them.
looking to if I give this to them, are they going to know? Because we've had to fix a lot of dry cleaners' mistakes.
Yes, we have.
So
This is a tough one.
Frankly, I wouldn't ask them question. Well, okay. Here's the number one question to ask them. Do you clean your garments in-house or do you send them out to be cleaned? If they clean them in-house, then they are the actual people doing the cleaning. So you're conversing with the guy who's going to put it in the big old drum.
Yeah.
If they say, well, we send it to this plant, then no, it's just a jobber. It's someone who's literally just collecting clothes, throwing them in a truck once a day.
Yep.
They go out, they get cleaned, they get returned a few days later, they put them on a hanger and give it back to you. Don't use them. If at all possible, find a company that actually dry cleans their own clothing. They're not sending it out to someone else to dry clean. Second thing is, I wouldn't ask them any questions aside from that. I would tell them what they're doing. I would say, hey, here's my kilt. It is wool. I just want you to clean this. Do not press it. No pressing, just cleaning. Do you understand? And don't treat them like a jerk, but the point is you don't want them to press the kilt. They're not going to baste the pleats. They are not going to take time to meticulously line up the edge of every single or every single pleat after it comes out of the drum. They're not going to do it. They are in the business of moving fast, getting things done as quickly as possible. Your kilt is an anomaly. That is not a suit or a shirt you can put on a big old buck and have it go psh, and shoot steam through it and be clean, and or not clean, but have it be steamed out. It is not a dress or that they can quickly run a steam iron over. No, this is something that needs to be meticulously ironed. And if they iron it wrong, they can. It's called permanent press for a reason. It is permanently pressed. If they screw it up, it's difficult to undo that damage and then redo it the right way. So anytime I take a kilt to the cleaner, now I have 2 cleaners that I trust that are sort of local. But anytime I take a kilt to the cleaner, it's, here you go, just clean it, don't press it. Now, when a kilt comes out from the dry cleaner without pressing, odds are the pleats are still going to be in it. Odds are it doesn't need a press. So really, you're just saving yourself money. They're going to charge you, let's say, $4 or $5 to clean it. They're going to charge you $20 if they have to press it, because they're going to sit there and probably a lot of dry cleaners will count out the number of pleats and say, okay, here's 32 pleats. I'm going to charge you, 80 cents per pleat. So it's going to be $35 for the whole thing. There you go. Or if you say, nope, don't press it, just clean it, they're going to go, okay, cool. And they're not going to worry about that part of the process because that's what takes time. That's what costs money. So again, no pressing, just cleaning. When you get it back, it'll probably be fine. And if you are the one pressing your own kilt, you're going to take a lot more care. You're going to be a lot more meticulous in making sure everything is precisely aligned, because you don't want to get it done in 3 minutes. You're going to take the 20 minutes, half hour to make sure everything is just so, because you're the one wearing it, not them. Have you any tricks or comments for dry cleaners?
Nope, I do not.
Okay.
You covered it.
Mac, do you have any tricks or comments for dry cleaners?
No, I'm following along with a lot of the comments that are coming in. A lot of people, and including James, who asked the question, he was really surprised. He thought they were supposed to iron the pleats and supposed to handle that. So he was a little.
They can, but what ends up
don't want them
happening
to.
is when a tradition, there's 2 ways to iron or to press a kilt. A traditional kilt maker oftentimes will actually base the pleats, so they're running a line of stitching across the back of the kilt, so that way they use a big old clamshell, which it's called a clamshell, and it runs steam through through the entire kilt, and it presses it into place, and then lets it cool, and then they take it out, and the stitches they're called basting stitches. They are run across the back, and they stay in there until they actually give it to you. When we do the kilts here, we don't hand sew as much as possible. We try not to hand sew. So we're actually using a big vacuum ironing table and a big old steam iron, and we're aligning the very, very edge using our fingers to kind of move the cloth back and forth till we are following one thread straight down the edge of every single pleat, and then we are steaming it in and pressing it into place. They're not going to do that. They don't, and I'm not trying to speak ill of dry cleaners in general, but they don't care as much as a kilt maker would care. They're going to lay it on the table and just go, right, here's where the pleat wants to be. Let's go. We got to get on to the next thing. The people, my wife used to work at a dry cleaner back in high school. These are high school kids or people, doing this. And I'm sure there's people who take a lot of care in their job, but generally speaking, they're not paid, $1,000 an hour to be super meticulous on every single pleat. They're playing a game of numbers, and you are going to lose that game of numbers. So they're not going to be as meticulous as you would be, or as you would probably want them to be. And if they if they don't follow the lines on the tartan exactly straight down, if they iron it at a little bit of an angle, they're going to permanently press it at an angle, and it's going to screw it up. If you have the one that I've seen that's the most egregious is a military box-plated kilt, where they honestly don't know what it is because they don't see that type of pleating. Knife pleating they'll see. They've seen that in a bunch of different garments. Military box pleating is like it's a niche in a niche in a niche, and they're going to screw it up and probably try to press it like a knife pleated kilt. They don't, and Max back there just shaking his head. Yup, absolutely. They're going to screw it up, and when they permanently press it in, it is going to be very difficult to undo that damage. So, no, don't have the dry cleaner press the kilt. Just have them clean it. Frankly speaking, the pleats will probably stay in. And even if they soften the edges of each of the pleats, you have a pattern there to follow. You have the lines on the tartan, and you have a softened edge of a pleat where you can actually just sit there and iron each one. If you take it to a dry cleaner and they put it in a clamshell and go, yep, these are essentially lined up, cool, ka-chunk, they're permanently pressing it in at a incorrect angle, you're not going to be happy. All right, I belabored this point enough. I hope that helps.
Yep.
Ask them, do they do it themselves? And don't press it. All right. Was that you or Mac? That was Mac.
That was Mac.
You.
Let that
You
be
there in the hat.
Let that be a lesson to you, mister.
Indeed.
Speaking of hats, Rocky, person named Percy Plays, says, I'm bringing back the Tricorn hat with my kilts. People seem to like it. What are your thoughts?
I have thoughts, all right. The
This is a meet me at camera 2 moment.
I see what you're doing. Stop it. No, the I understand the desire to take something historical and put it with something else historical and see if it works together. I understand playing with fashion to a degree. I understand the mindset of I own this thing. Like if I did cosplay or I did reenacting or something else, part of me would be like, hey, I own this World War II jacket. It's really, really warm. I want to wear this more often. I paid a lot of money for this thing. I want to get more use out of it. Or I want to incorporate this into my daily wear. And I also own this hat. And I also own this other thing. And kind of mashing it all together to make a fun thing for you. I get the desire to want to do that. What I would warn you to be careful of is the caricature necessity, making up words, of making it into a caricature, making it a plaything. So, you own a tricorn hat. Great. If you're wearing colonial American garb, wonderful. If you're, going to be Captain Jack Sparrow, here's to you. But kilts were not historically worn with tricorn hats. So if you wear let's say you're a colonial reenactor, or you're a Revolutionary War reenactor, and you have a tricorn hat, it happened at the same time people were wearing kilts in Scotland, or the British troops had kilts at the time, but they weren't worn at the same time in the same garment. It's you're crossing history, you're crossing the streams, and you're making a caricature of the outfit into a plaything. My thought on it is, do this thing wholly or do that thing wholly, WHOLY, not holy, not exactly, not holy. I would say do one or the other, not both. If you want to incorporate a tricorn hat with contemporary dress, you want to wear it with like jeans and something else just as an accent piece because you're artsy and you want to have fun with fashion, that's different than representing Highland dress or representing period dress. It's all in how you're trying to put it together and express yourself. Does that make sense or not make sense?
Makes perfect sense.
Lovely.
Yeah. Who hurt you, Percy? Now, okay, so no mocking jokes. In all seriousness, everything you said, basically. The only time I've ever seen people wearing a kilt with a tricorn hat is steampunk events, or maybe a Ren fair. It's a fantasy. It's it's the guy who's got the kilt and the Assassin's Creed hood on. It's definitely play costume stuff. There's only 2 people I know who have worn tricorn hats with modern clothing and somehow carried it off, and one of them isn't even real. One of them is Nero Wolfe in the Timothy Dalton series. For some reason, they decided to have him wear a tricorn hat whenever he left his house, which was very rare. And freaking Adamant. If you're not Adamant, you will not be able to carry off wearing a tricorn hat on a daily basis. I don't think. I don't know. Now I'm gonna have to try, but because I am down with the ant music. But no, seriously, it's an art thing. It's a costume thing. It's a play thing, but it's not a historic thing. Even going back to the period, troops wearing kilts were not issued tricorn hats. They had shakos later on, and they had a type of cap which I can't remember the name of. They had bonnets.
Tam, they have Balmorals or something like that.
Yeah, basically bonnets, umbrella term, tams. They didn't wear tricorn hats. It was not part of the uniform ever. It was not a part of Highland dress ever. So you're not doing something historical. You're playing around with stuff for fun. So,
I
do you, but please do not try to say it's bringing back a historical trend.
Yeah, I don't think he is. What I would here's kind of where I'm falling with it in the art piece outfit thing.
Yes.
Because I'm so artsy, I've been known for my artistic flair. I just look at that artistic flair right there, that little bling. Yep, available now, usakilts.com. If John McPhee, friend of the show, is the guitarist for the Doobie Brothers, and excessive amount of other things. Really, really cool guy, really, really nice guy. He got a sheriff Montrose doublet from us, and wore it on stage. He had jeans on and Montrose doublet, and was rocking out, literally, rock band, the Doobie Brothers, on stage in a Montrose doublet. There's a certain amount of it's a different style. He's being artsy, he's a performer on
a rock
stage
star.
doing a thing, and he didn't do a pair of MC Hammer pants plus Montrose doublet plus tricorn hat with feather and Michael Jackson rhinestone glove and Bootsy Collins boots. No, he picked one thing.
And Kurt Cobain's bathrobe.
Exactly. He picked one thing, a flannel shirt. He picked one thing to use as his art piece for the outfit, and it worked because it was one thing. Your attention was drawn to one thing in the outfit. If the kilt is an attention-grabbing thing, people are going to pay attention to the kilt, period. If you're wearing a tricorn hat in a pair of jeans and something else to make a fun, funky fashion statement, the tricorn hat is going to be the attention-grabbing piece because it's the thing that doesn't fit with normal fashion. So I would say let one piece of the outfit do the talking. The more pieces that do the talking, the more it's just a shouting art mess that you're strewn in.
Garbled.
Yeah, garbled mess. Yeah.
Becomes a garbled.
Yeah, that's what's not working for me in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mac, do you have any thoughts on tricorn hats and kilts?
See, back in the day,
In my day.
I used to wear my kepi or my forge cap
Okay.
with a regular everyday attire. Now that's a little bit more baseball hat oriented, so it was a little less jarring than.
But with a kilt?
No, it was just t-shirt and jeans.
Yeah.
Which he's saying he wears the tricorn with
Okay.
jeans and a t-shirt too.
Sure, I
So
just wouldn't wear it with a kilt.
it is just that is a bold statement.
Immediately, but to me, it's like it's an immediate signal. Oh, I'm a reenactor. Anybody even has a
And that's what I would
vague
think.
sense of what it is, they're gonna be like, oh, he must be a Civil War guy.
Yeah,
you know?
I would automatically head down that stream.
Mm-hmm.
I know guys who wear World War II Jeep caps all the time. Just
Right.
it's
Now, what if it was a tricorn hat that was a fashiony twist on a tricorn hat? In the same way that, like, Slash from Guns N' Roses had, like, a top hatty looking thing, but it wasn't really a top hat.
Yeah, it
was
was.
but it was a fashion. It wasn't like a top hat beaver, that you would wear to a black tie event. It was a fashion version of the thing. What if it was a tricorn hat with like scallop shells or a skull in the front or something like fun and different? I wouldn't wear it with a kilt still, but it would fit in like with jeans. I wouldn't necessarily think, oh, he's a colonial reenactor because it's not a
No,
colonial.
they're gonna think you're a pirate.
So, yeah, I was
9
going to
times
get
out
at
of 10, it's gonna be like pirate.
Pirate or colonial.
Or say, would you also get the same? I'm not saying this is going to be correct, Eric, but I'm going to say, would people also put that down the road of steampunk?
Yeah, which is
Fantasy.
weird
Yeah.
because I mean,
Oddly
tricorns
enough,
aren't part of the,
ships don't fly.
Yeah, I mean it's well they can, but under very bad circumstances. They don't usually land.
Yeah.
Trebuchet, yes.
Yeah, I mean like even tricorn. It's just it's a fun playing with a costume kind of thing. I mean it's not even Victorian. So if you're a snob steampunk, which doesn't exist, and if it does, again, who hurt you? It should all be like Victorian, right? Victorian Edwardian. So tricorn predates that. That would be clock punk. You're doing the clock punk
yes.
thing, yes. Which
As
is
opposed to clockwork punk?
clock punk is actually a thing.
That's late 70s.
That's 18th century fantasy, but so yeah, I mean, frick, I would consider wearing one out to a club maybe, but I wouldn't. Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like too much to me. It just seems like it's too much.
Now, I am going to the Revolutionary War Museum with my son's field trip at the end of this month, so maybe I will come back to the
Cool.
next show, tricorn hat in hand.
You know what it is? It's also, how we say, like, the hats that look best with kilts tend to be much smaller, narrower brim. Tricorn with a kilt, let's imagine you were doing it. It's still this kind of wide-ish shape, which is the kind of shape we usually say does not look right with the silhouette of a body wearing a kilt. Just like a fedora. Like you get your Indiana Jones or your Philip Marlowe, gangster fedora on there with a kilt. It looks odd because you got this shape up here and then the shape of the body with a kilt. It just doesn't, aesthetically it doesn't work. So just from a technical standpoint, I don't think it works.
I agree.
And we have talked about this way too freaking long. I'm sorry.
You know what looks great with
I'm sorry.
with a kilt?
A flat cap with a pin?
A brand new flat cap called the Killarney model from Muckcross Weavers. Beautiful, beautiful. Sample hat right here. Sample. Pre-done. I got in ground floor. Very excited about this hat. This looks great with a kilt. Not so much to track on. Product placement.
Your mileage may vary.
All right.
That was me.
Yes, that was you.
Okay.
Mac.
Now picturing Flavor Flav with like a wind-up clock.
The sundial.
Yeah,
No. Flavor Flav in Germany. Cuckoo clock.
there we go.
Yeah, and nylon running lederhosen.
Flavor Flav in Lederhosen. Oh. You put that thought in my head.
Bright red nylon lederhosen. With a
Adam,
Nike-
you
with a
know
Nike swoosh
you're
across here.
going to be photoshopping this, right? Flavor Flav, Lederhosen, Cuckoo Clock.
Adam is polishing up his resume right now.
I think he just passed the buck one seat over.
Yes.
I'm the one who invented the lederhosen sporin, so I'm not above doing that kind of thing.
Fair.
It looked better than I thought it would.
Looked about as bad as I thought it would.
That was kind of fun, actually, but I don't know.
Damn kids. All right, Mac.
All
Save
right.
us.
Rocky's gonna love this one.
Oh, great. It's a great way to start a question. You're going to love this one.
Kim is asking, is it wrong to wear sandals with a casual kilt and t-shirt in spring and summer? They live in Georgia and the husband hates to wear boots in the heat.
Okay, whatever.
Are you time traveling to Yasgur's farm in the late 60s?
What's a Yasgur's farm?
Isn't that where Woodstock was?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't
It was
know.
Yasgur's farm.
Okay.
Is it Yasgur's farm? Where was Woodstock held? Was it Yasgur's farm? I think it's Yasgur's
In
farm.
Woodstock, New York, right?
No, it's right next to Woodstock, New York.
they
It's
called
not
it
actually.
Woodstock.
Yes, correct.
I know
Somebody
who
tell
was
us in
there.
the comments, and then Mac, tell me if I'm right or not, because I'm very, very curious. Kelly and Liam went there this summer. They loved it this past summer. All right.
Anyway,
No, burn all sandals in hell. The
At least put
Ask
on
me
some
how I feel about
Crocs,
sandals.
okay?
oh,
Put some Crocs on.
no. It. My theory on sandals, one man's opinion, they should be worn on the beach and only on the beach. So help me God. I'm not a fan of sandals. Nope, never have been, never will be. I would go barefoot or sneakers before sandals. They're neither fish nor fowl. Other people enjoy sandals. Fine, to each their own.
Mm-hmm.
I judge you.
Yeah, it's not my thing either. I would say at least try to go for like chunky, heavy duty tactical type sandals, and not anything that's like just shut up. Not anything that's a bright color, just like we would say for shoes. Keep it like the suede, the brown, the black, nothing colorful, and God's forbid, don't wear flip flops. But I've been down in Virginia during August heat and how brutal it is. So, yeah, I understand the motivation. So if that's what he's gonna do, that's what he's gonna do. If you're going out to look nice, please don't do that. If it's for the day and you're going out to chop wood or whatever, well, you shouldn't be doing that wearing sandals anyway. But you know what I mean. I will suggest this as an alternative: jungle boots. Maybe try a pair of jungle boots.
I'm still stuck on the tactical sandals because now I want tactical sandals. They have pockets for my additional clips.
Yep.
They have a knife
Yep.
little. Indeed.
You need a little more expansive about
Molly
what
strips
tactical
across
means,
it. No. Tactical sandals, to be
Okay.
worn in war.
Yeah.
How do you make tactical sandals? I don't know.
Heavy duty hiking sandals. Okay.
Yes, Birkenstocks. Yes, sure.
Birkenstocks.
Birkenstock is how you say it in Germany. Thank you very much.
It'd be great.
It's not
A kilt-
Birkenstock like you freaking hippies.
kilt with leader.
Birkenstock, damn it.
Kilt with lederhosen.
And Birkenstocks.
There you go.
So, yes,
Birkenstock.
if you're going to wear Birkenstock sandals
Birkenstockenbrogues.
or Birkenstocks for you Americans, I'm not kidding. Birkenstock is how you say it.
Okay.
I'm
Fine.
very angry about this.
Stay on topic.
Indeed, I don't like them. If you're gonna wear them, is it done? Sure. Are people gonna do it? Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't wear freaking socks with them. Don't wear kilt hose with them. They should only be worn with essentially a t-shirt, very, very casually, and I won't send the snipers after you.
Send the kilt police.
Yeah, exactly. I won't send the kilt police, but I should send the kilt police, just not the snipers.
They live inside of my head.
Indeed. I would never do it. I'm not encouraging people to do it, but if you're going to wear sandals with the kilt, for the love of God, please, t-shirt, maximum casual outfit, period, end of story. Mac.
Now, are sandals above buckle brogues or are buckle brogues above sandals?
The people who wear buckle brogues and the people who wear sandals should be put into a gladiator arena with as many weapons as possible and forced to fight to the death.
Dun, dun, dun,
It's
dun,
it's
dun, dun,
really
dun, 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 dun.
now. I'm gonna guess that there's more sandal wearers than buckle brogue wearers,
Yeah.
either due to cost or whatever. So we probably have to give the buckle brogue wearers better weapons or at least shields, maybe a targe, but they still need to fight to the death.
We'll need some clips from Gladiator now, and any Star Trek fight, maybe Gamesters of Triskelion.
Okay.
Yeah, for the combat.
Indeed.
And
Indeed.
yes, it was Max Yasgur's dairy farm in Bethel, New York.
There you go.
Me knowing hippie stuff,
stuff.
from the 60s. It's my long flowing hair gives it away that I'm a hippie. Okay.
Are we done?
Yeah, I guess.
Mac, don't ever do that to me again. But wait, it could be just as bad. Colton Derek Cunningham says, this is practical, when sitting on a bar stool, should the pleats go under your butt or over the stool? What is the proper way to sit on a bar stool when wearing a kilt?
Okay. We're assuming the bar stool does not have a back. Has a back?
Yes,
obviously
traditional bar stool.
under the butt.
Yep.
Okay.
None of those yuppie.
How do I do it? Now, first, let me address the elephant in the room. If you are not wearing underwear, for the love of God, for the love of all that is sanitary and holy in this world, put the pleats under your own dirty butt. Do not sit your naked butt on a bar stool. I'm starting there. Yes, I'm judging you. So, assuming you have underwear, you have options. If you don't have underwear, don't do that. For the love of... Why I order? Sorry, I had to whip it down. So, Three Stooges reference. Yep.
Get to the question.
Never. I will meander as long as I want to meander.
Cut this out.
Indeed. Cut him out. Right there. So, thank you.
Seriousness.
If you're wearing underwear, then I would say that, personally speaking, I break it into two categories, and then one of the two categories I break in half. If I am leaning against the bar stool, meaning feet on the ground and just kind of, cheeks upon bar stool, like off to the edge of the bar stool, then obviously pleats underneath myself. If I am fully seated upon the bar stool, feet on the rungs, right up there, then I would say it's probably for that 50-50. And I would probably start with pleats underneath myself. But if I sit on the bar stool and the pleats are like bunched up weird, or it's a heavier duty kilt and it's like I can't get comfortable, then fine, I'll just kick them off the back and be like, okay, fine. Underwear on the bar stool. There you go. Mm-hmm. That's my really long-winded answer to a stupid, simple question. Eric.
Yeah. Pretty much, I never really thought about it much, but I think I almost always sit on the pleats. I just sweep them like I would in a normal chair, honestly. I could see that maybe with some stools, like if it's got that limited footrest bar that's very narrow on the front of the stool, it'd feel more awkward to do the man spread you're supposed to do when you're wearing a kilt, because then you're like putting your feet together at the bottom and you're still spreading your knees out. It might be awkward, and therefore it might be easier to have the pleats going over the stool. But honestly, I just don't like the feel of any kind of a chair, especially like a vinyl bar stool, on the backs of my legs. So it's just like sticky and stuff. So I'd rather be sitting on my pleats anyway.
Yeah.
So I just default to that, and half the time I'll lean on it if given the option.
Yeah, I would also say that if you're sitting on the bar stool and the pleats are bunching up underneath you, the other option you have is you grab the fabric on either side and pull it out the sides, so you're sitting on less fabric on the bar stool. What I will say is, if you are on stage in a kilt, lean on the bar stool. Do not jump up onto the bar stool, because the people in the front row will get more of a show than they paid for. It is worth the price of admission, my friends. No, there's it's, remember, you're in a kilt and, I shouldn't have done that. So I don't think it was on camera. It's the bottom of the kilt is at eye level with people, coming out. So leaning on the bar stool, your angle of your body is facing down towards the ground. If you're fully up on the bar stool without your knees together in the front, which is uncomfortable, then you're giving an eyeful to the audience. So just be aware.
I'll go one more. This is speculation, but I have a feeling you'd be more likely to attract kilt lifters or indiscreet, inebriated onlookers if the pleats are going over the back of the bar stool.
That's fair.
They're going to see this curtain, and they're going to want to know what's behind the curtain. And they're more likely to come along and go, or do something, hoping to see your butt on a bar stool for whatever reason. But
it's the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, so pay no attention to the junk behind the curtain. So yeah, it's I would say that would be a reason to not do it. Also,
I agree.
So yeah, never thought of that, but yeah.
Yes. Good luck,
Mac.
I'm just imagining the sound of the tackiness getting off that.
Oh God, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, I hate that. I hate that. And you think about how everybody else has sat on that bar stool, and yeah.
And what's spilled all over that stool.
Yep.
I
Yep.
love how your ass
Yep.
makes a suction noise when you get off a bar stool.
Ah,
Vacuum sealed.
what? No, yeah.
All right, enough of this. Mac, what do we got going on?
All right, here's another
We are
fun
here
one.
to serve, answering the important questions.
Noah is asking, other than a skin do or a skin brew, what other fun things can one store in the top of one's hose?
Skin brew or skin
I
do?
can't answer this.
A very tall, skinny
I
flask.
can't answer this.
Things you have to tuck into your socks. Is that where we're going with this? Without wearing underwear?
No.
Okay.
Close, but no.
Okay. What else do you shove into your socks? I don't put anything in my socks.
I worry too much about stuff falling out.
Yeah.
In fact, I will not do a ski and do very often because it just makes me a little nervous. Now I've done it for special occasions, but yeah.
Yeah.
Are you talking for decorative purposes or practical purposes? Because theoretically, you could stick all kinds of things down there. You know, cash, your ID, condoms, whatever. But but if you're talking about decorative, I can't think of anything else. Maybe a feather. You just have like feathers coming out on either side.
Twizzlers.
Twizzlers. They'd be nice and warm and
Just
soft.
Pull one out and take a
My
snack.
emergency Snickers
Beef,
bar. Yeah.
beef jerky.
Well, see, Twizzlers aren't going to melt. Snickers is going to melt.
Not if it's in the wrapper. Well, if it's it might still melt.
Because against your leg.
Yeah.
I think it's about the beef jerky.
It's snap it a Slim Jim.
Yeah.
Snap into Slim Jim.
In all seriousness, I think that putting the ski and do down the sock was kind of an odd affectation anyway. I mean, there's the lore is that it was a way of showing your friends
I
that
have a weapon.
I
Here
have
it
a
is.
weapon, but I'm not going to hide it from you. I'm putting it right here so we both know where it is, and it's harder for me to reach without you knowing what I'm up to. So it's a point of honor and being a good guest and all that kind of stuff. Almost 90% certain it's apocryphal. So what else would you stick down your kilt hose? I mean, I don't know. Not think of anything.
Spare bacon.
Spare bacon? Yeah, exactly.
Somebody did
Pocket bacon.
say they've seen someone store their pipe.
Yeah, I actually have seen that. Yeah, I
at
actually have
Celtic
seen
Classic.
that. Okay, yeah, I've seen somebody do that. Probably the same person.
Yeah.
It was a Celtic Classic gun, yeah, because I was there.
And that's a
Gandalf.
it's a different idea for it. Like I've seen one of our customers, Verlin Hayes, he's got a little pouch that hooks on his belt for his pipe.
Right.
But
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, if I'm going to store things on my person while wearing a kilt, it's not going to be in the socks. It'll be, a belt pouch, spore in. If I have a vest on, pockets of the vest, or if I have a jacket on, pockets of the jacket. I'd rather store things in a more secure location than the kilt hose tend to be.
Right.
And I don't have a lot of things tall and skinny that I need to store. And it's, if I'm going to carry a knife, it's typically going to be one that's more utilitarian. And I don't carry a lot of things on me in general. The phone, my credit cards and license are in my phone case, and a key. It's really all I need, and maybe a money clip. So, yeah, I'm pretty low maintenance with things I need to carry.
Yeah. It's an interesting thought, but no. It's like I'd never run in a formal setting where I'd be wearing a ski and do, but the idea of running and having something fall out of your sock would make me paranoid also. But I don't know.
Yeah, Mac.
There's just vape pen, drumsticks.
Right. I've seen guys stick their drumsticks down them just because it was
It's
convenient when
convenient.
they're waiting around. You're standing around waiting
Yeah.
for the next set or whatever.
Your
Yeah, I
tin
get
whistle
that.
when you go on tour.
I was gonna say
Right.
I know
Scruffy
I think
used to do
Josh
that.
Scruffy from Dropkick Murphys used to have he puts his tin whistles down his kilt hose, and then I eventually made him a secret pocket underneath the front apron of his kilt for his 3 or 4 different tin whistles he used to do.
Yep.
But yeah, I can't think of anything else that I would need to shove into my socks. So yeah, nothing. Okay, hope that helps. Kind
That
of.
was different.
Yeah.
It's a different question.
Indeed. All right, Eric. One more from you, then one more from Mac.
Yeah, it's that time already, or is it? Okay.
I can't read. I don't have my glasses on.
It's right there. Okay. Bathrobe Batusai. Bathrobe Batusai. Batosai. Gaijin. Says, I often see a tartan design I like but don't know the name. Is there an app or a website where one can take a picture of a tartan and match it to find out what it is?
That is a good question.
Yeah, it's a good question.
The simple answer is no. There's not. Since there has been internet, since there have been apps for the last 15 years, there's been people saying, hey, somebody should really make an app where you can take a picture of a tartan and see what it is. It would probably be pretty expensive to develop the thing, and a super duper niche audience who would actually use such a tool. But we were curious. This theory, this idea, has come up more than once of our time in business. So, Eric, when we got these questions in the other day, Eric said, "What about Google Lens?" So, I think the smarter that AI gets and the better that AI gets over time, I think it's going to do a good or reasonable job. So we took, as to test this theory, we took the Almanac tartan, not one that is massively available from a billion different places like Royal Stewart. Took a picture of that and said, okay, hey, Google Lens, do your thing. And it came back with our website, it came back with Almanac's website, and it came back with a bunch of other purple tartans. So it came back with the right answers, not, answer 1, answer 2, and then everything else. It was answer 4 and answer 12 out of 30 or 40 different tartans. But it did give us the right answers. I also took a picture of, was it American Dream I took a picture of?
Yep.
And McDonald Clanranald Weathered. I happen to have in my office one of my kilts. I just took a picture with my phone to make sure there was no data attached to it. There's no, stuff in the back end of the picture that can say this was a picture from USA
Tags.
Kilts. Yeah, no tags,
Meta-information.
no metadata, exactly. And when I took American Dream, a picture of it, it brought back a lot of red and blue tartans, but it also brought back American Dream. So I would say Google Lens is actually a reasonable answer for this. Now, you will have to dig through a lot of things that are similar to find the right one, but I picked tartans that weren't, mass produced from 1,000 different places, and they popped up.
Yep.
Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it worked, but the wheat to chaff ratio, shall we say, was not great. But wait, there's another option. And this one's for the Luddites. There's this thing on the internet called the Kilts and Culture Facebook group. And if you take a picture of a tartan, and people do this all the time, if you take a picture of a tartan and load it up there on the group, you'll get a lot of responses, and you'll get several people who are just immediately like, oh yeah, that's Mackenzie Weathered, or yep, I know that one. Yeah, so gee whiz, humans are better at some things than machines. Go figure.
For now.
For now, yeah.
The-
There goes my career. But yeah,
There-
so
There's
use the social resource. Why not?
Yeah, or email us, or send a message to our Facebook or whatever. We get messages all the time. Hey, this tartan, I saw this somewhere, or this is my grandfather's kilt. What tartan is this? If you're looking to recreate something, or you want to get a your own kilt in that tartan, send us an email. We can hook it up as well.
Yeah.
We are nothing if not a fountain of knowledge willing to spout forth on you. Regurgitate facts, if you will.
That's actually one of the fun things too. I do get amusement from when there's a tartan that we don't, like this morning we were doing a TikTok and we're talking about the Brave animated film Tartan, and
Brundock, or
yeah,
whatever it's called.
Bun Barn, or whatever
Yeah.
the name they came up with for it was, and we were like, what does this remind us of? What is it? And you realize it remind you of the Royal Canadian Air Force.
Yep.
So there's actually, we get to nerd out sometimes when this happens, so that's good.
It's almost like we care about this stuff and we enjoy it ourselves. Go figure.
You know, you've done enough of these shows now that there's enough data. There's enough of a data set that you could build a machine learning version of me. So you actually don't need me anymore.
Sweet.
Yeah, you could just have the virtual Eric. Yeah, it'd work out just fine. So like a glitch.
See, now I want
Glitch.
now I want a Max Headroom version of you. Just sit next to me. That'd be pretty spectacular.
Sovietsky, Stewart.
Stewart. Yeah, we're old. All right, Mac, I'll give you the final question.
All right. So happy Do double G
To you as well.
wants to know what is your guys' take on wearing kilts to rock, punk, industrial, etc. band concerts. He'd like to ask more questions related to this, but he doesn't want to flood the chat.
Well, it's the last question, so
I mean,
flood the chat all you want.
the basic answer is yes.
No.
Have done it.
No, the basic answer is hell yes.
Yeah.
Or beep, yes. I'll beat myself there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I have kilts specifically for that. So yeah, I mean, don't wear your best one. Don't wear your clan tartan unless you really want to. I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
No, I'm not. I take that back. You could.
Yeah.
I take that back. The caveats we usually give are that the sporran could be a hassle getting through security, event security, and we've done a couple of videos on ways you can deal with that or
Circumvent.
it. But crowd surfing. Gotta watch out for that.
Well, what you talking about?
We do recommend undergarments, but yeah, I mean, I've been to shows where a large percentage of people were kilted, you know, especially like an industrial show or a metal show. So
Or Dropkick Murphys or Flogging Molly's.
yeah, or
Celtic
punk,
punk
yeah,
show.
Celtic punk show, yeah. So
The thing that I always find amusing, and kilts 100% break this paradigm, is the uniform of a subculture. So, if you're going to a punk show, you have to dress in a leather jacket with, homemade patches, and you must have either a shaved head or or spiked hair or colored hair. You must wear Doc Marten boots. You must have ripped jeans. They must have zippers on them. So that's the punk subculture. If you're going into the goth subculture, you have to wear black. You have to have makeup. You have to do. So every single subculture that purports to be individuals has their own uniform. I find the irony of that delicious. So one of the things that for the most part,
you're overstating the case, but okay.
I am, but I'm not. There is an aesthetic within it for a reason. The thing that I love doing is going to punk shows in a kilt or something else in a kilt, and putting a kilt in an environment which is not typically seen, because that is the true mark of an individual, is doing what you want to do in the thing. So you don't have to completely conform to whatever scene you are into. You can still wear a kilt in the scene and remain an individual, maintain your individuality within it. And frankly speaking, you're going to get more kudos for doing something like that than you are going to get jeers. Like, more people are going to be like, dude, that's freaking awesome. I love it. You can wear a leather jacket with a kilt and make it work. Paul McKenzie does it at the Real Mackenzies. Like, there's a ton of different ways to incorporate the kilt into your outfit, into a subculture, but you're just using it as a piece of clothing to represent you as an individual. You're not dishonoring it in any way. It's what you wear. Therefore, I'm going to wear my, my Johnny Cash, FU t-shirt with my kilt to a punk rock show or to a metal show or whatever, because it's fun and that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
That's my rant. Sorry.
I think your rant's a little, don't take this the wrong way, but it's a little dated at this point. I think there's more variety.
Okay.
Now, it depends on the scene. Like, if you're a skinhead, there's a very definite uniform to that scene. Okay, it's very, very nailed down in terms of the look, as we know.
Yeah.
If you're in the larger mod scene, less so. But if you're in the if you're in the goth scene is probably the most variety of any of them,
Fair.
honestly. I will say that you're more likely to see utility kilts or solid color kilts at metal shows, industrial shows, goth shows. Tartan, you're much more likely to see at a punk show. So if you're trying to play around with aesthetics, that's one thing to keep in mind. But of course you can do it.
Do it.
Enjoy it.
Do it.
That's the whole point.
Yeah. The point is to not only celebrate your heritage, but include it in your daily wear. It does not need to be relegated to the back of your closet for formal events only. It's all about incorporating what you love, with whether it's your heritage, whatever it is, incorporating it into your daily wear. You don't want to make a dog's dinner of it and go 897 different directions, but incorporating your heritage into your look, into your aesthetic is 100% the way I want to do it and the way I think other people should do it. Don't be afraid of incorporating it. Express yourself, period.
Before you wreck yourself.
Yeah, express yourself before you wreck
Express yourself before you regret yourself.
Because
I don't know.
tartan bullets are bad for your health. Thank you, Ice Cube.
'Cause,
Okay. Indeed.
trouser tubes are
We're
bad for your health.
paraphrasing loosely.
Just a tiny bit.
Yes, indeed. All right, boys and girls, thank you very much for joining us on this meandering journey.
Yeah.
Until next